Correlation, the analysis and evaluation of information, and remember Hahn has some trouble with that because a lot of folks in the news now interpret instead of just offering it to us. Cultural transmission, huge. They offer, and all media does this, whether it's through sitcoms and media, by the way, is the plural for medium. But usually when we think about media, we're thinking about mass communication, mass media, which newspapers count, but we're generally thinking about the visual aspects from television and all different types of television, films, blah, 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 and then all the computer mediated stuff, social media, and all that type of stuff. But they educate us. They teach us what it's like to be to live. When I was in graduate school, when I worked on my master's degree, my very first graduate student paper, way back in the day, was about Schoolhouse Rock, which I don't know if you remember. I think they had a Schoolhouse Rock 2 at some point in the 90s or something like that. But I'm talking about the cool ones in the 70s. And I called the paper Teaching the American Way on Saturday mornings. But we learned gender roles, issues of race, and all that type of stuff via media. Again, it doesn't necessarily have to be intentional on the writers or the directors or whatever. It's just always there because it's part of our culture. And then, of course, entertainment. They sort of offer us an escape. So that's generally how a lot of theorists think about the functions of media: surveillance, correlation, cultural transmission, and entertainment. And provides gratification. I want to escape the world of political communication and politics, so I'm going to watch the political movie with what's his face and what's his face. It's really funny. A few things particularly relevant to the nightly TV news from research. Some of this might be redundant. Agenda setting is a big term. That is, they decide what is news and what is not news. They decide what is the headline and what is not the headline. They are gatekeepers. They allow us in to see whatever. And then people start talking about it, right? Oh, did you see on the news last night? Blah, blah, or I read that, blah, 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 blah. Who are they to say that this is important? This is not, I don't know. They select the issues. Some argue that news is hegemonic since at base it promotes dominant ideologies. They prioritize stories that are very dramatic and that can be very visual. Folks love hurricanes and disasters. We'll see images from Haiti and probably from Florida and everything like that all throughout the news. People suffering because they love that stuff. Also, we oftentimes see good guys versus bad guys in narratives. And the way they actually do this, you count up. This is sometimes it's just demographics, but oftentimes it's very stereotypical. Well, think about the movies. I know this is news, but after 9/11, who became the evil people in the movies? Yeah, people that looked like they were from the Middle East. That always sort of changes depending on cultural things. So us versus them, oftentimes when they report international stuff, it's like USA, USA, those crazy folks over there. They oversimplify things, sort of, you get a story about whatever that's a huge complicated issue and they devote 5 minutes to it, or less than 5 minutes, reporting from blah, 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 yeah, blah, 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 yeah. Okay. Oh, there's so much stuff in here. Many people argue that reporting the news generally, that because of news reporting, particularly TV news, people generally tend to think, for instance, that the world is more violent than it is, sort of called cultivation theory. And that's true. People tend to think things are a lot worse than they are because I saw it on TV. It works with race and gender and everything like that. I assume that all black men are criminals because that's what I see on TV. That's the way all this stuff works. So news also impacts, this is the last little bullet point, the world through media logic. And media logic is sort of the way we think about things from a media point of view. So it has to be short, or in short, but the stories are short, quite brief. There's not a whole lot of detail. People just sort of skim the surface. And they love slick production techniques and catchy music and everything like that. it sort of produced what some people call sort of culturalized ADD, attention deficit. This, what's the last D stand for? I don't know. Attention deficit disorder. But it's not a disorder. It's the way they keep order. And we start thinking about this, and thinking that way. We gotta have things quick. No, I don't have enough time. Give it to me straight, and give it to me quick. I don't care about the details. Just skim the surface. But I want it to be flashy, and I like catchy music. Alright. Let's analyze memes. It's fun. All the kids are doing it. Oh, before I get to that, can you see that? If ignorance is bliss, this is the happiest man on earth, or on planet. This is, actually I need to go to a meeting. I'll come back to this. But one of the things I would like you to do, and I'll probably come back to this maybe tomorrow at some point, because classes again are closed tomorrow, so I don't know what Matthew's going to do. I have put on KC an extra handout on visual analysis, and I will talk about that later, but I want you to take a look at that, because I'm going to use that to sort of take you through an analysis of a few memes of Trump and Clinton that I found online yesterday, and I think it will be very, very useful for any of you who are trying to do your paper on a visual aspect of political communication. But I'll come back to that because I got to run to a meeting. But I hope you have a delightful rest of the day.